2024. Have we got any apologies?
We have no apologies submitted to me directly.
Okay. One being Mark Ferguson from Unison.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Councillor Sam Mullen might be late. He's at another meeting. He might have joined already.
He's here.
Oh, he's here. Sorry, Sam. I thought you were going to be late. Didn't see you.
Okay, moving on to declarations of interest.
Yes, I have one.
Councillor Mullen.
Yeah, just for the record, I'm the President Convener of the GMB Union, but just to let it be known for transparency. Okay. Yep.
Thanks, Councillor Mullen. Councillor Hughes.
Similar statement as transparency. I'm a member of Union, but it doesn't affect me taking part in the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Gilmore.
Yeah, same here. Just for transparency, I'm a member of United Union, but I've applied the test and it won't affect this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Gilmore. Moving on to the agenda now, health and safety and wellbeing activities. Is that Stephen?
Yeah, thanks for that, Stephen. Thanks, councillors. Just the reports in its usual format. It's in for noting. I did say that I would give a bit of an update in relation to lithium batteries. So there's a wee bit in section 3.5 in the report itself. It talks about the work we're doing with the corporate fire group, looking at what we're doing in relation to the controls of lithium batteries. We're tying in with the services. We're looking at housing and how we can manage it, the charging of these devices. We're tying in with the trading standards teams as well to see what messaging we can get across, because as we come up to Christmas time, people could be buying things from the internet. We don't know what type of batteries are in there. They might not meet the CE marks that we have for here. So working with Faye Wilson, our team on that, and we're trying to get information across there. The rest of the report kind of gives some of the basic activities in there. One thing that's not in the report, but I just like to raise awareness with the elected members here, is the fact that the council was won an award for the support we're giving to our carers. Again, this helps in the kind of health and well-being side of life. It came across just before I got a chance to put it into the report. So the hard work that was done there with the teams in the council to get this is such a prestigious award. I think it's been really well done, and I think it should be recognised that way. The rest of the report's there for noting. I'm happy to take any questions, convener.
Okay, thanks very much, Stephen. Councillor Sam Mullen.
Yeah, it's just probably two questions, if you don't mind. First one, obviously, Stephen just touched on these lithium batteries. The hospitals in Glasgow are looking at barring them from being charged completely because of some of the fire risk that's been involved with them. So it's just to point that out. I mean, probably there's two different types of batteries, I've been told, but it's all about, because I was at a meeting the other day where they happened to be talking about this, about the amount of staff that's coming in with them and they're charging them, and there's been an outbreak of fires. But just to bring it up your attention, the other thing I would ask is that I noticed there's 91 health first aiders. I'm not looking for any cases or any people that I spoke to, but I'm asking, is there good feedback for now that there's 91 of them there? And that's all I'm asking on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, am I okay to respond to that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, Stephen.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks firstly for the bit about the lithium batteries, councillor. It's something we're looking at, and uncontrolled devices has always been a problem for us. We had it when we put the electrical testing arrangements in place for any other devices, people bringing toasters and soup makers and the likes into HQ and setting fire alarms off. But these lithium batteries are absolutely spot on. We don't know what condition they're in, and we will be looking to look at some way in which we control personal devices coming into it. At the moment, we've got the controls on where we can for the council-owned devices, and we're looking. It's an interesting point, councillor, because you just sparked a wee thought there, and it's maybe an element to bring procurement into those discussions as well. Because as we go forward, we want to be making sure we're buying the right kit that's got the safe stuff in it. So I've took a wee note there for that. In relation to the mental health first aiders, again, thank you for recognising that. That's another bit of hard work that's been done by the HR and OD teams to make sure that we can support our employees in the right way. We've got a Teams channel available for the mental health first aiders, councillor, and it allows them to have that kind of private discussion and also bounce ideas. If anybody's presenting anything to them that they're not really fully sure of, or they want to just discuss it with ourselves and HR, they can get a wee bit of support that way. A lot of the stuff that's coming through from, and again, this is not disclosing anything that's going to identify anyone, it's just kind of common issues. It's anxiety, depression, low mood and self-worth. All these kind of things come through, and they're being reflected in the stats we get from our counselling service as well. But the mental health first aiders have been a really great support in the workplace. They're giving people the option and the direction that they need to get there. And the first aiders themselves are supported, counsellor. We've put an arrangement in with the employee counselling service. If they do take time out to talk to someone, and it is quite a harrowing case or something they're discussing, they get a chance to speak to the counselling service at the end of the day and sort of a chance to debrief themselves as well, so they're not carrying that weight around with them over the weekend or through that week as well. So hopefully that gives you a bit more information on what you were looking for, councillor.
Sorry, Stephen. Sorry, I'm talking to Stephen Hickson now. If you don't mind, I just want to say, listen, I would like you to get a chance to pass it on to the 91 first aiders, that we appreciate that first and foremost they're doing what they're doing, and it's good to hear that there's somebody in the workforce can go to, especially with anxiety and stuff, because it's very difficult to talk to somebody you know about anxiety, but it seems easier to somebody you don't know. So I really appreciate what they're doing. Thanks for the report, Stephen. That was good. Thank you.
Thanks very much,
That's
Stephen. Next question, Councillor Doig.
Basically, to congratulate your department on the winning the award, Stephen. I know there's a load of hard work goes on in the background to that, and congratulate the staff on behalf of all us councillors who appreciate all the work you do. But yeah, like Sam, I'd like to congratulate you on getting the mental health first aiders plenty in place. I did this years ago when it was first coming out, and a colleague of mine, basically in Renfrewshire Leisure, and I did it together, and it was quite amazing when you know what to look for and the different signs, etc. in it, especially in bereavement, not bereavement basically when it happens, but bereavement 6 months down the line. There's certain things can come up and etc. Basically on there, and my friend and I found very, very helpful within the staff to help people in these sort of situations, and to have the wherewithal to know how to approach it and how to advise and where people to go. So I'm so pleased that you've got so many within the council now, because it really is an asset and a help to all the staff that they basically deal with. So congratulations on that as well.
Thanks very much, Councillor Doig. Next question for Stephen is Councillor Nicholson.
Thanks very much. And I also wanted to congratulate in terms of the Carers Award, because that's well achieved, and obviously my thanks to everybody that's involved in that. My second point was just in terms of the narrative round about 3.10, and again it's about the mental health first aiders. It says we've increased to 91, but I don't know from what that increase was. So that's the first thing. But really pleased to hear that you have got an opportunity for a debrief session and support for the workers themselves, who will be the mental health first aiders. Sometimes that's a big load to carry in terms of that, and we need to remember that this isn't people's first jobs. There's a job that sits alongside of that they do. So I'm pleased that there's an opportunity for debrief for those who are helping. So that's really good. Thanks.
Stephen.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that to both councillors for the commentary on the Carers Award. We'll make sure we pass that back to the team that was involved. And secondly, councillor, the previous number was 71 first aiders, and we moved up to 91. But it's always a constant moving figure, that, because we do have people leave the council, and we're always trying to just keep that number up there. We're also aiming to, which we haven't fully reached yet, but we want to get a mental health first aider in each of our premises. But we're getting there with that. We are getting there with it, but we'll keep pressing on. But thank you for the commentary and the questions.
Well done. Good.
Thanks very much, Councillor Nicholson. Next question, Councillor Hughes.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, well, I would echo what my colleagues have said about the Carers Award. That's brilliant and it's excellent work. And I think the work around mental health first aiders and the support there is really good as well. My question, I suppose it's could we have this information in future, but it's around the REN talks. I think the REN talks are a really positive thing. They're a way that people can dip in to things that interest them, and they're quite broad spectrum in terms of health and wellbeing, which I think is really positive. But I wondered if we had anything in terms of the numbers of people who are managing to attend, because if we track that, then if we need to do a bit of work so that more people can, we know what we're doing. And it's not a for now question. If you want to send me info later, that's fine, Stevie. But I think next time these are in the report, it would be quite good to have those numbers.
Yeah, Councillor, we do have a booking process for that, so I'm sure we'll be able to capture the numbers and the service representatives that are there from it. So I don't have the figures on me right now, but I'll certainly get something to you.
Well, that's great, Stevie. I just think in terms of if we're able to see what services might not be managing to get to these things, it means we can target it a wee bit more. But I think they're really positive, and I've actually attended a couple. They're great. So thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Thanks so much, Stephen, for your report. Moving on to details of grievances. Is that you, Ruth?
That's myself. Thank you, Chair. Item 2 is an update for the board, providing an overview of the current grievance cases across the services as at November 2024. Current numbers, as you can see, we're sitting at 9, which shows that since the last board, there's been a further 5 cases that have been resolved. So happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Ruth? Nope. Moving on to agency workers.
That's myself again, Chair. Thank you. Again, item 3 is an update for the board, providing an overview of the agency workers being utilised across the services as at November 2024. There's been a slight increase of 31 since the September board. I think we kind of anticipated it because of the kind of holiday period, etc. But I just wanted to say that following on from the last board, I have now met with Health and Social Care Partnerships Finance Team with the request around the information, particularly around the social care assistants, if they could give us more detail around the actual number of posts they are covering rather than just the head count. So the head count is important, because that's what's on the invoices, and that then corresponds with the number of people in the post within the council. But as we said, because sometimes we have agency workers that are coming in this category only, where they're maybe only covering one part of the shift, then they go away and then it's another agency worker that's doing the second part, and so on. These numbers are looking a wee bit inflated. So we've asked them, when that information comes in, if they can work to provide that, and they've said that they'll do their best to do that for the next board and give a wee bit more detail around that. Again, happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Ruth. Councillor Millen.
Can I just say to Ruth that she had answered my question, because that's what I was wanting to see, these numbers, because I was kind of trying to work it out myself, but it would be good if we got that fed back, because it is concerning across agency workers nowadays. So it'd be good to know what they're doing. So I appreciate that. So thanks very much. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, thanks, Councillor. Next question from Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, I suppose it's a bit similar, just in terms of the figures that we're given. In the column, what it says is the current number of Renfrewshire Council employees in the role, and then it gives us the figures in terms of the number of agency workers. What would be helpful for me to know is how many roles are there in this, or how many posts are there, because you know, if you take it for example in terms of transport, the bus driver, we've got current number of employees in this role is 37, but I don't know how many vacancies there are in terms of that, so therefore I don't know how many of the agency workers are covering a vacant post or covering sickness or whatever. So it would be helpful for me to know actually how many posts do we have, in addition to how many people are currently in the roles. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Nicholson. The actual figures are the number of people in the roles. However, what it does not include is the actual any vacancies, and that's because we want to be able to reflect the number of people in the role and how many agency workers we're needing to cover. But yes, we can see if we can get the vacancies added as well, which gives the full picture.
Full picture, thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ruth. Any more questions? Okay, moving on to
Councillor Doyle.
Right. Sorry, Councillor Doyle.
Okay, Ruth, we were saying a few months ago that we were actively trying to recruit some of the agency workers to be our employees. How successful basically were you in that perspective? And also, are we advertising apprenticeships and how to become carers, you know, working within homes and different agencies as far as that's concerned, because a lot of school leavers don't really know what they're wanting, and you know, if we've got jobs that they could be trained up in fairly quickly, and there's plenty of work for them, you know, basically there, it would be encouraging to know that we're trying to do something about that.
I believe there's a lot of work through Michael Moran's team, you know, around the apprentices and working with the schools, etc., just to make them, you know, it's always about universities and whatever that we tend to speak to the schools around, but it's very much now about all these other roles that people can move into. With regards to agency workers, we've been really quite successful. We still do have numbers who actually prefer to just work agency, because then they've got flexibility as to when they work and when they don't work. But it's been quite successful. But I think at the moment, because if I just say that since the June board, we're about 34 agency workers down, but since the April board, we're 110 less. So that we're definitely going in the right direction, where some are coming into the roles, but also we're not having to utilise as many as well. But there was a wee bit of a peak just over the kind of summer and autumn, between leave and perhaps some sickness as well.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Have you got another question, Councillor Nicholson?
Yeah, sorry, it was just supplementary, just in terms of what Ruth has just said there, and it's about the agency workers. And I think Councillor Doig had asked about the transfer of people who are currently working at agency to become employees. I'm just checking in terms of that, do we pay a transfer fee over for those workers? Because that can be quite costly as well over a period of time. Thanks.
We do, and thank you. Sorry, Councillor Nicholson. Yes, we do. But there's times where the individual will just apply through the council rather than, you know, coming through via the agency. But with a lot of the agencies, because we use them and we've got a contract with them, that fee is usually quite minimal.
That's good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Councillor, and thank you, Ruth.
Hey, thank you.
Moving on to item 4, it's timetable for meetings for 2025, and those are outlined on page 14. Are we happy to agree those dates?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. So item 5, date of next meeting will be the 13th of February 2020. Oh, sorry, Councillor Doig.
Sorry, Stephen. I don't know if you'll allow this or not, but I've basically got a question to the union reps here about the flexi leave that the staff were negotiating or was getting negotiated. I believe that the unions haven't agreed to that, and I just wondered, have you consulted with the union members on this, or was it just the union themselves that made that decision to withdraw away and not go for the flexi leave for the public holidays?
It was mutually agreed with management that we wouldn't be put forward this year. There'll be discussions taking place next year.
Right, okay, so it's not totally off the cards yet?
No, it's going to be in 2025. There's going to be future discussions.
Okay, thanks for that, Stephen.
Okay.
I was getting confused because some members of staff thought it was going to be in place and were basically working out their holidays with the 6th one not doing the public holidays, and others confused that no, it wasn't. So I just wanted clarification on it, so that I knew where we were, and I can let the rest of the councillors know that. So thanks very much for that, Stephen.
Thanks, Councillor Doig. I'll just bring in Julie Barron.
Hi, yeah, it was just for some clarification for the minute there to see if you were going to take that, but you took the question, so that's what I was just wanting to ask. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm sure Raymond will want to help with that question as well, or answer that question partially.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it was just to come in very quickly, Councillor Doig. We took a paper to the Finance and Resources Board just this morning to give members an update on the discussions, which basically just said that, you know, we'd had discussions with the unions, but for 2025 we couldn't reach agreement. So the unions collectively have asked the management to go back and review a couple of areas in terms of the proposal that was given to them. And it's basically around the number of days where we're looking to change from public holidays into annual leave, and the kind of compensation buyout part for people that potentially was going to be losing overtime who worked in these days that we were going to move. So we have committed to continuing the discussions with a view, hopefully, I'll say hopefully, that we can get something agreed for 2026. So basically the standard 12 public holidays were approved this morning. It's just been a timing thing, I think, between the boards.
Thanks, Raymond.
No problem.
Thank you. Thanks for that clarification. As I say, item 5, date of next meeting is going to be the 13th of February 2025. So I think it's only thing for me to say is have a great Christmas period and New Year, and we'll see you in February. Okay.
Thank you.
Stephen. Same to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.